3, 2, 1. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. It is Wednesday, November 27th, 2019. You know what that means. It's New Comic Book Day, and that also means it's Ash Wednesdays. Thank you so much for joining. If it's your first time, welcome. If you're back, thanks for coming back. I don't know why I can't focus, but there we go. I got the best props in the business. Cardboard box from In-N-Out Burger. It's all greasy. This is the pumpkin spice edition because, you know, it's that time of year. So you got to get yourself your pumpkin spice. You know what I'm saying? Joining me, as always, is Stan the Man. Everyone should know Stan. He is a man, the myth, the legend. He's probably the single greatest figure in all of comic book history. He's done so many great things. It's not to diminish any of the other greats of comics, but it's a tribute to Stan. I'm so glad he's my co-host on the channel. We will never forget everything that he's been, not so long as I'm around. Also joining us is Forky, our resident co-host, intern, mascot, and also a celebrity in his own rights. He's a movie star. And Forky is also an expert on all things trash. Probably in the background you can hear the pitter-patter of my dog's feet, because when you do a video, my dog has to just make her presence known. Hashtag show me your floppies. New Comic Book Day. These are hashtags I support on my Twitter account. You can follow me at Ash1138. Show me your floppies is a fellow, I don't know if you know who the comic aficionados are, from Wes on Thinking Critical. Jeremy, minus one digit. I think he's the one that started this tag, and it's to promote buying physical comics, supporting floppies, and that sort of thing, and also to kind of expose the certain people out there that try to talk big about comics or whatever, but they don't actually buy comics. And it's like, show me your floppies. Let's see what you got. Anyways, let's get on with the show. Now, you may be wondering, Ash, why do you got a greasy cardboard box there? I mean, I know it looks beautiful. The set design is second to none on this channel. Well, that's a good question. If you're new to the show, then you don't know my tradition, which is always unboxing an In-N-Out Burger. I thought about not doing it this week because it's Thanksgiving and I've been eating so much food. I had a Friendsgiving. Have you ever heard of Friendsgiving? Is that a California thing? I never heard about it till I came back to California. Friendsgiving. Anyways, I had a party on Sunday that I went to. There were four turkeys and a ham. There was so much freaking food. Everyone took some home afterwards, and I've just been feasting on Thanksgiving food, and it's not even Thanksgiving yet. So I was like, should I really? I got to do it. I got to get my burger. It's my tradition. I get it every week. I treat myself. I was away from California for 17 years, and I couldn't get In-N-Out Burger. And so now I appreciate it so much. Look at this perfection. You know, most places, you order a burger, it never looks like the picture. Because, you know, let's face it, most burger places are shit. In-N-Out Burger, this is $4, by the way, less than a Marvel comic. See what I did there? Absolutely best bang for your buck burger you're going to get. When I was young, about 25 years ago, I worked there for 4 years. Absolutely can attest to the quality. And I'm going to go devour this thing because I get to. If you have an In-N-Out nearby, I highly recommend. Well, you already know. I don't need to tell you anything. If you don't have an In-N-Out nearby, hopefully you've got your own local eatery that you love, Burger Shack, or some sort of place like that you can hook up on. Tell me what you got. Tell me what you love. What sort of local things that you like to grub on. And I'm going to devour this, and then we're going to get on with the rest of the show. All right. In this next segment, before we get started, I just wanted to cover something because it's Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is probably even more popular nowadays for Black Friday. Comixology is having big Black Friday sales. This is a really good time to pick up a lot of digital trades that you're looking for to catch up on old stories, or just have maybe some reading copies of things that you just cherish. Looks like they're doing a lead-in to Black Friday as well with daily mystery doorbuster deals. Today you can get Stumptown by Greg Rucka, Matthew Southworth. I don't really know anything about this, but it's a full trade paperback for 99 cents. Some people really like Greg Rucka. Kodansha Princess Jellyfish Sale is something that I had to mention because Eric Breen is a huge fan, and I know now he can collect this whole series. Eric, this is for you. But for the rest of us that like real comics, DC is doing a big Black Friday sale of up to 90% off on some titles. I'm not going to cover everything that you can get here, but pretty much everything is on sale. It's huge. This is one thing I recommend, Batman White Knight for $5. There's some really big things here I've already purchased, but also take note that some editions, there's multiple editions of the books on sale. For example, here, V for Vendetta this is the 30th anniversary big super deluxe version that's normally $35. It's $5. The regular V for Vendetta trade is also $5, so why wouldn't you just buy this one? So if you do check out and buy any trades, make sure you look at all the different versions and get the right one. Another great example is Robin Year One. You can get Robin Year One for $5. Highly recommend it. I bought it on a recommendation, and I don't even like Robin, and I have no regrets. It's great. Batgirl Year One is also written by Chuck Dixon. Same team, everything as far as I understand. It's supposed to be on par. It's $5. Or you can get the Robin and Batgirl Year One compendium book, which has both trades in it, $5. So, you know what I'm saying? I would get that one. Just take a look. Whether you are a fan of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, other stories, look at this. You can get New Frontier Volumes 1 and Volume 2 for $5 a piece, or you can get the New Frontier Big Deluxe Edition, which I have, and pay $5 just for the single one. Mr. Miracle, you could have paid $4 a piece for 12 issues. That'll cost you $48, or you can get it now for $5 if you're curious. It's important that I mention these because today is New Comic Book Day. I went to the comic book store. I bought a bunch of books. A lot of these books nowadays are getting to the $4.99 for one single comic. And, when Marvel and DC, mostly Marvel, but DC as well, are asking me to pay $5 for their books, I have to ask myself, look, I can get DC's New Frontier, the entire saga by Darwin Cook, for $4.99. Why would I give you $4.99, Marvel, for some shitty whatever book? I'm not going to pick one out. I'm going to invariably, whatever book I name is going to piss off someone. But you know what I mean? These are outright classics. All-Star Superman, Watchmen, Blackest Night Saga. There are pages and pages. Look at this. 1,200 items just in this category. Some other independent companies are doing some. Black Horse has got a good sale. Black Horse has got some great stuff in their back catalog. Lots of Hellboy stuff. Look, you can get an entire omnibus of Hellboys for $7.49. The Sin City books are super must-reads in my opinion. I'm a big Frank Miller fanboy, so take that with a grain of salt. Looking at the Sagio Jimbos, these are massive collections, these saga books. Let's see. Yeah, 623 pages, $6.99. And this is 100% super solid material. I mean, this is like they're not quite like phone books, but they're thick. I've seen it. If you've seen these in stores, you know how thick they are. And Saga's a perfectly fine place to start. Anywhere is fine with Usagi Jimbo. It's a master class of comics. Some people can't get over the cartoony rabbit thing, but I assure you, just read a copy. Figures now, the internet's all slow. I'm trying to I should have not zoomed in on a book, but geez, for the love of God. So there we go. Great. More Dark Horse stuff. And some European books and some other stuff. Valiant is having a big sale. Now, Valiant went kind of belly up in terms of quality in 2018. But from 2012 to 2018, they were gold. Rye, Exo Man of War, Bloodshot, Ninja K. Fantastic. I personally recommend Exo Man of War, the very first volume from 2012 by Robert Venditti. Start there with the first trade. You will not be disappointed. It's like Iron Man meets, do you remember Gladiator, the movie Gladiator? Maximus. Imagine Maximus getting Iron Man armor, and then going into the future. It's a phenomenal. It's got space aliens. It's a huge adventure. It's fantastic. Bloodshot is like Punisher mixed with Wolverine powers with a crazy twist of a storyline that I've never seen done before. All super well written. Rye is my buddy Wes over at Thinking Critical. It's his favorite comic of all time, and you can get volume 1 for $3.99, less than the price of a comic. You know, I'll get that on my comics today, but I just wanted to cover these. If you're interested in The Boys, I just, while watching The Boys TV series, I was thinking about picking up the comics because I really enjoy it. $4.99. Look, mostly I want to point out the DC. There's other stuff here. Tons of DC stuff. Tons. If you're a DC fan and you're not even happy with the current crap that's going, it doesn't matter. This is all back issue stuff. You can enjoy the greats. You know these books are going to be good because they're tested by history. And I wanted to point this out to you because it might slip you by. You might have your mind on other things. You're out there paying for these books. You pay $4.99 for some book, and then you get home, you read it, and you're like, this is garbage, and you're all pissed off about comics. Stop for a second. I'm not trying to tell you not to buy floppies anymore. I absolutely want to support floppies. But supplement your reading habits, in my opinion, with some classic trades at a cheap price that helps you get more value for your money and make you remember what you love about comics. And, so let's get into, should have had this all prepared. The segment, Marvel versus DC. You got a little bit of behind the scenes going on there. Let's get right into it. Digital sales is what we start off first in this segment. If you've been watching the channel before, I'm going to assume you have. I'm assuming this is not your first time. So I'm not going to explain. We're going to start off right from the get-go. Number 10. This is all the last week's sales on Comixology. The 10th best-selling comic digitally was Amazing Spider-Man number 34. And I really love this cover. I like Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man 2099 for the most part. I love Doctor Doom. And the composition of this cover is whoo la la, man. It's maybe not the best line work, but the composition, the coloring, it's eye popping. I'm guessing is Patrick Gleason did the whole art. All right, so number 10, I can see why that's on the list. Surprising, it's not higher actually. Number 9, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers. Dale Keown. Could Dale Keown be back in a regular capacity? Dale Keown was one of my favorite artists back in the 90s. He's probably my favorite Hulk artist of all time. He's lost a step. He did a Hulk special a little while back, but I flipped through it and I was like, oh, this isn't the Dale Keown I remember. But seeing this cover here feels like he's progressing back to his older self. Maybe he's just a little rusty. I don't know. But there's Avengers. This is Starbrand. If you ever read New Universe, you know who Starbrand is. If you haven't read New Universe, you may not. This doesn't make any sense to me why Starbrand bonded with some caveman dude and why the caveman turned into the Hulk because he's got the Starbrand. Makes no sense, but it's Marvel. Nothing matters at Marvel, so they just slap shit around. They don't have to actually research anything or worry about continuity. And if you're a Jason Aaron Avengers fan, you're probably okay with that because that's all you get is just a complete absence of continuity. Number 8 is Absolute Carnage number 5. This is a bang-up miniseries event that I followed. I caved in. I normally don't buy into these things, but Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman are ooh la la. It's fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I haven't read this 5th issue yet because I'm behind on stuff and because a lot of people were like, it doesn't really end the greatest. And I was like, oh man, really? Took all the steam out of my sails. I'm mixing my metaphors again. But that it's not stopping fans from picking it up. And I completely understand why. I'm surprised actually it's not higher on the list. Then we've got King Thor by Jason Aaron again, doing a sequel to his famous Thor series with the God Butcher, teaming back up with Asad Ribic, or I don't know how to pronounce that, but beautiful art in that original series. I definitely recommend checking it out for the art alone. I have not read the series, but it's absolutely on my wish list. And these covers look a little bit washed out. I'm really kind of annoyed by the coloring. But hey, look at King Thor, looks like a badass here. I don't understand how Jason Aaron can write, and maybe it's just Asad Ribic. I don't know. Sometimes he writes Thor and makes him look like a badass, and other times he just, well, let's not get into that. That was number 7, King Thor. Number 8, Immortal Hulk is still holding strong in the top 10. Readers are apparently still happy to keep chugging out their money for it. This is number 27, so props to Al Ewing for making Hulk is not an easy comic to make a hot seller. Like, if you're a writer or an artist and you get a project at Marvel, and you want to sell books, you're kind of hoping for X-Men, Spider-Man, maybe Deadpool when he's hot, or Punisher when he's hot. You're like, Hulk, you're drawing straws, but you can sell the Hulk, you must be doing something right. Props to you, and that's number 6. Number 5, we get the first DC comic on the list, Batman Superman. Not Batman, this is so stupid. You have to look real close here in the corner to know what that is. Batman Superman issue 4. This is a comic I have been promoting, and it's solid. The writer, Joshua Williamson, he's fantastic. He's been writing over 80 issues of Flash, one of the best ongoing comics, super consistent quality. Bang Up Job is not getting notoriety. And when he was like, I heard he was being given Batman Superman, I was like, hell yes. I can get a Batman Superman book that has neither Bendis nor King, and it's Joshua Williamson. Sign me up. The art's great. Jeez. I don't know how to use my iPad. God, for a product that's supposed to be so user-friendly and easy to use, it's so unintuitive and not easy to use. But anyways, you don't care about that. So that is number 5 in the top 5. Congratulations, guys. Good job. DC also in the top 10 with Justice League. This is Scott Snyder, one of the best writers in the business. I know some people are going to spit out their milk. Listen, Scott Snyder sucks. Look, whatever. Everyone has their preferences. I get it. Not everyone's going to like everyone, but Scott Snyder truly is. His resume speaks for itself. I personally like Scott Snyder a lot. Justice League is a really solid book. He's really well suited for it. He's doing these massive, grandiose ideas, which some people don't like. They want their stuff more grounded, which is fine. You have comics for that. I believe Justice League shouldn't be grounded. That's the place to go and get all your crazy ideas out. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad to see other people are too. That it's number 4. Number 3, another DC book. We got Batman, City of Bane. This is turning out to be the longest of King's arcs. I think this is like the 9th issue of City of Bane. It's just going on forever. 85 is King's last issue. So I think a lot of people are very interested to finally see how this all wraps up. Plus Bane is a big, villain thing. I mean, that always brings interest into Batman. And so it's not worthy to be number 3 in my opinion, but there it is. It's not all about me. And we got number 2. We have Excalibur number 2. I believe Excalibur was number 2 the last time it came out. Second to the number 1. I did a review on this book. It's neither terrible nor interesting. It's like Wonder Bread with some margarine on it. Whatever. If you like it, you like it, I guess. There we go. And then we've got number 1, Marauders. Number 2, I'm pretty sure my memory serves, this was also number 1 the week that it came out. And yeah, I also did a video of this book. This video just makes me angry. It's kind of a joke of a book. Gary Dugan just almost seems to know he's writing a joke of a book, and he writes the characters all out of character. Doesn't even seem to care about their motives or who they are or anything. Continuity, schmontinuity. But fans are all excited about the Hickman era of X-Men. I understand why. Hawks and Pox got me right there, cheerleading. I haven't bought X-Men in 20 years until Hawks and Pox. And Hawks Pox, which is House of X, Powers of 10, for those who may not be familiar, is the best X-Men event I've read in... It's among the best X-Men events I've ever read ever. It's really that good. So I was kind of on board to check this stuff out, but I can't just love something because I want to. I'm not going to just do that. I'm not like, ooh, I'm on the team, so I'm just going to promote it no matter what and shill. I'm not a shill. I want to like these books, but when they're stupid, I'm not going to give you a pass just because I want to like it. You know what I'm talking about. So here is the tail of the tape for those of you who want to list to see what the turnout was. And then we can see that Marvel turned the tide. Last week it was 3-7 in DC's favor. This week Marvel comes back swinging and says, nope, we're going to take the top 10, 7-3, pretty much trouncing DC. That's, I guess, good job, Marvel. Now, moving on to the second half of this segment is Marvel versus DC, new number ones. So every single week, Marvel and now DC, but used to be just Marvel, would come out with a ton of number ones. They started this in 2018, this trend of just pumping out the number ones. And then when I found out in 2019 they were going to double down on this idea and turn the volume up to 11, so to speak, just more number ones, I was like, I got to make fun. I got to mock them. It's ridiculous. It's predatory. It's hurtful to the industry and the fandom and the local comic book shops, which I support. And when things happen like this, when companies are doing bad things, you should speak out if you're a consumer and you don't like it. You have every right. Even if I disagree, you have every right. You're a consumer. It's your money. You should speak out. But I also believe a useful tool is mockery. Not just speaking out, but just pointing out how stupid it is and promoting the stupidity of it. And hopefully other people joining in on the bandwagon and pointing their finger and going, aha, you're an idiot. Like, that works. Shame works. And when a company has upset fans, sometimes that's not enough to listen. But when fans are ridiculing them and pointing at them and making them look like a joke, that stuff can spread like wildfire. And a reputation matters a lot. Marvel's number one because Marvel has had this reputation of being the cooler of the two mainstream companies. But that can fade. It's happening with Apple right now. For a long time, man, Apple made a huge play. Apple used to be a joke. And Steve Jobs turned it around and made Apple cool. And it didn't matter what the product's quality was, Apple was cool and people wanted to like it. Apple's losing that edge now, right? Nowadays, it's a Samsung is cool or your Pixel. It's almost cool not to have an Apple product. So that can matter a lot. But anyways, I'm getting in the weeds. So I start this off by going in order based on pull list count, which I get from this site here that I use. I love League of Comic Geeks. And they have new comics this week, and you can see they have a list of all the comics, and you can see over here in this little red box pulled. So, for instance, this week, Detective Comics 1016 was the most pulled comic by users of this site. 4,662 members or users of this site have this on their virtual pull list to pull. Now, that doesn't really... It's not exact science or whatever, but it is kind of telling about interest, about people who are lockstep. I'm a diehard fan of this book. I want to make sure I get it every time it comes out. So that being said, you now understand why the order. So this book had the most interest. That's Tales from the Dark Multiverse Infinite Crisis. Is a mouthful. I had to pause before I said it. I kind of like what the Dark Multiverse is doing. They're taking classic stories, telling it from a Dark Multiverse perspective. Apparently, the idea and the quality, it's been well received, is resonating with fans. So that's good. DC is using it as an excuse to make $6 books, which are number ones, all of them, to sell you, and that's their list. DC has made big headways, beating Marvel multiple weeks in this. And so I had to add them to, this is like, I think the 8th time I've done it with DC. I don't know, I've lost count. So DC starting off strong with the most anticipated new number one, according to League of Comic Geek users. And they lead 0-1, DC's favor. Next, we've got Hellblazer number one. DC decided to take this out of their Rebirth mainstream and put it back into Vertigo, which is canceled and been renamed now Sandman Universe. And then it's part of DC Black. It's more confusing than ever. DC said, oh, we're going to make it less confusing. And what they meant was the exact opposite. But here we go. Here's the number one, Hellblazer. It's not even called Constantine anymore. It's just Hell. What do you know what I'm talking about? They go back to their roots. Some people are excited about this. I hope it's good for you guys. Sorry, this last book set you back $6. Hellblazer is going to only set you back $4. That's not bad. DC is now leading 0-2. But Marvel will come back swinging with their 2099 event is going into full swing now. Pun intended. Punisher 2099. I don't know why we need a Punisher 2099, but there you have it. It's a number one, and it's going to set you back $5. And now Marvel's on the scoreboard, 1-2. See how it does? I'm just trying to swipe. Next, we have the most ridiculous comic I may have ever seen in my life. Conan the Barbarian, 2099. Apparently Conan now has Thundar the Barbarian's sword. I found that somewhere in the future. If you like Conan, there's no reason you should like this book, in my opinion. First of all, it's Gary Dugan. He just writes jokes. He's a goofball. Conan is supposed to be a alpha male fantasy. Dugan seems to be everything but that. If you like Conan, this is a joke. This is everything Conan fans should just be like, oh my god, facepalm. And then people who don't like Conan, why is this supposed to make them like? I don't know what this is, but it's a number one, so you got to collect it, right? Put your kid through college. Marvel's tied it up 2-2. And next, we've got Scream, Curse of Carnage. At first, I was like, what is this? Is this a new spin-off event? No, Curse of Carnage is just the subtitle, but this is a spun-off title from Absolute Carnage that no one cares about, except that it is a new number one. You got to get those number ones, and it's got symbiotes, right? They're always hot. So Marvel's now in the lead, 3-2. This book will set you back $5. Can DC pull it out? Next, it's Fantastic Four, a new Fantastic Four number one, The Negative Zone. Why can't this story just appear inside the normal pages of Fantastic Four? It's not because Fantastic Four is telling super awesome stories right now that this should just be, this is a pointless miniseries in my opinion. But there it is. It's a new number one, so you got to pick it up. Marvel now dominating 4-2. This will set you back $5. And that is it. There's no more number ones. This is a slow week for number ones. Only 6 this week. Marvel takes it 4-2, both in the top 10 and in the number of number ones they're going to fleece you for. But it's only going to cost you $20, $10 for DC, $30 total. That's less than usually what it'll cost you just for Marvel. Marvel released 21 new comics this week to DC's 17. It used to be about, a 10-6 ratio, 60% DC, 60% of, you know what I'm talking about. DC burdened about 60% of the comics that Marvel did. But DC's really pushing on the gas and stepping it up. 17 to 20, that's almost as many as, And the variants, Marvel usually has double or triple the number of variants. But this week, it's not even double, 53 to DC's 38. So we can see DC is really getting into the fleecing the fans mentality. that Marvel is. With Bendis over there, I cannot think of, I can't imagine all the different ideas that are being spread of how to Marvelize DC. So that is the end of this segment. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed doing this. I'm trying to keep it quick and short. It's a lot of stuff to cover, but you can skip past. We got the miracle of, like, you can just tap your finger or click a mouse. It's so simple. If you don't like this, hopefully I haven't lost you. I'm going to get on to the next segment. This is the next segment. First time on the show, viewer mail. I've been wanting to do this for a while, but it takes a little bit of pre-planning. Plus, it also takes effort on your guys' part. So hopefully this will be sort of the kindling to the fire, fan the flames, if you will. Let's get started. This one came in about a month ago, almost a month ago, and it came into me on Twitter. The user didn't want to be named, but I just wanted to talk. I asked them, I was like, can I use this? And they were like, yeah. So I'm going to stand on my commitment to use it. And the user writes in, good content lately. I love that you're not afraid to express an opinion. Although as a vegetarian, I could do without that much focus on the burger. It doesn't take much for me to fast forward 10 seconds, and I can appreciate the tradition. I'm so glad you keep pointing out why Bendis is garbage. I try to think independently about the comic and take your opinions with a large grain of salt, but your points are so valid. Please review SS Black now that it's all wrapped up. So I put this one in the mailbag because I wanted to address 2 points. Number one, the burger. Unless you're a vegetarian, not by choice, but because of health issues or whatever, sorry, not sorry. So, I have no sympathy for vegetarians that choose to be vegetarians because it's your choice. And more power to you. I have no problems. Vegetarians, probably much healthier than I am. That's great. But at the same time, that's the price you pay. You don't get In-N-Out burgers. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to rub your face in it, but you understand as a vegetarian, I'm sure. And just pretend it's an Impossible Burger. But don't eat those don't eat those Impossible Burgers. Do some research on this shit. That shit's deadly fucking nonsense. I'm sorry to cuss. It's bad. Please eat a mushroom burger or something. Don't. And also, the big reason I want to talk about Silver Surfer Black. I was a big fan of Silver Surfer Black. Donny Cates was killing it. I love this story. I still don't fully grasp the ending. It really kind of spun me for a loop. I didn't really hate the book, but I'm sitting here kind of going, it's not clicking. And I readily admit that. There's sometimes, if you don't understand a story, you can't really appreciate it. And so therefore, it's not going to be as good. And I don't want to do a video about something I don't really grasp. I'd love to talk to someone who does get it and it could explain it to me either on a stream or on Discord. That would be fantastic. I really do want to like this book and I really do want to understand it better, but it was really weird and surreal and kind of out there. And and that's why I didn't do a video for it. So there you go. Thank you for writing, by the way. And sorry about the burgers. Next, from my Ash Wednesdays episode 16, I get Matt Beskowski commenting, this video reminded me that I need to get caught up on Detective Comics. I'm like 4 issues behind. Dude, I know how you feel on that. And yes, you do. Detective Comics is solid. I am caught up on Detective except for the newest issue, which I just picked up today. I'm looking forward to reading it. This story with Dr. Freeze is fantastic. I love these longer arcs that Tomasi does. This is the third of his run, and it's really good. He gets into the villain. He's got heart and soul with his, the relationship between Freeze and his wife. Great stuff. He also writes, you might have talked about this previously or somewhere else. Did you get Disney Plus, and have you seen The Mandalorian? No, I have not gotten Disney Plus yet, and I have not seen The Mandalorian yet. So I live with a roommate who's my buddy, and he actually owns the house. And so all the cable bill, not the cable bill, we don't have cable, but most of all that stuff he puts under his name. So he's going to get Disney Plus because he's got kids. He wants to binge The Mandalorian. He's my friend. I really want to see The Mandalorian with him because he's a major Star Wars fan like I am. So I could watch it by myself and get it, but I'm like, I would like to watch it with him and share the enjoyment. So I'm kind of just holding off. That's where that goes. So I'm trying to avoid spoilers, and I'm hoping that it's as good as everyone is saying. And you guys are lucky, the ones that have already seen it apparently. So I will let you know for sure when I see it. Next, Eric Breen, probably first time user. I don't know who this guy is. I know who Mark Shaw is, and I still don't care. I'm currently reading Tomasi's Superman, Jurgen's Action Comics, and Tomasi's Super Sons. I hate Bendis' Superman more with each page of his predecessor's books. Eric, you nailed it on the head. I put this comment in the thing because he's like reading my mind. This is exactly how I feel. If you read Tomasi's Superman, Jurgen's Action Comics, and then Tomasi's Super Sons, you will understand why people are so mad about Bendis. Because not only is Bendis just writing a bunch of fluff, hacked out nonsense, it has no real plot, it's not going anywhere, and it's changing stuff just for the sake of changing stuff, but it's undoing great stuff that we were getting before. We had to stop that. We used to have great Superman, and we used to have Super Sons, which was fantastic. It's all gone. It's ruined because of Bendis. And so not only, it's not enough that I can say, well, I'm not going to buy the Bendis books. That's easy. But I also don't have the option to get these other books that were doing great and everyone loved them. They're gone. And for that, I'm very upset with Didio and Bendis. I'll leave it at that. Next, regarding the Excalibur 2 video, Real Comic Book Stacks, who is a great supporter of the channel. He has his own channel. I urge you to check it out. He's got much more mellow tone. He doesn't read the comics, but he explains the comics, kind of like Comics Historian does. Also, but unlike them, he also gives us a little bit of 2 cents. He doesn't just tell you, hey, here's a book, here's what happened, the end. Here's what happened, and here's kind of what I thought, the end. So I really like it. He's got a really great demeanor, and he's is growing by leaps and bounds. Check his channel out. Anyways, thanks for stopping by, Stacks. He says, this was a great video, man, but I honestly want to hear you try the Gambit animated series voice when doing the next one. 2 problems. I haven't seen the animated series. Well, I have a little bit, like a long time ago in the 90s when it came out, if that's the one you're talking about. I never really jived with me. And number 2, I'm terrible with accents. But I could try. If I could get an example, I could try maybe. Didn't you do? No, that's Wolverine had the Aussie accent. Never mind. Thanks for writing in. Advocating for Ascender. Uzab, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, 6 days ago wrote in, who do you think should write Star Wars comics? Would Jeff Lemire be a good pick? Well, based on Ascender, which I'm super excited for, and so it's like probably my number 1 hottest book right now, yes, Ascender is virtually Star Wars. It has many of the same tropes, many of the same style, the same feel, everything that I love, the pacing, the things I love about Star Wars. It just doesn't have Jedi and lightsabers and the Force. It has other things, but it's space fantasy. Love it. He would probably be a good pick if he was a Star Wars guy. I don't know. Mostly I would say my pick for Star Wars is nobody. I think Star Wars is supposed to be special. What made the original Star Wars so great is that Lucas put his heart and soul and he made 3 movies. And it took him 9 years to do it, right? And potentially longer. He was developing it in college, and it's like this is his great idea that he had percolating all this time. And it was special. Each movie was something big. When you draw it out and you water it down, then it becomes like Star Trek. The problem that Star Trek always had, the great debate, Star Trek versus Star Wars. Well, Star Trek always lost because Star Trek just was cheaper. It was more like fast food. It was just, here's a ton of Star Trek stuff. We're just going to poop it out. Where Star Wars is, we're going to sit here and handcraft it for many, many years and then give you 1 movie. Obviously, Star Wars is going to be better based on those merits. Now Star Wars is becoming like Star Trek. It's just this, let's just poop out whatever stories we can and they don't really matter, and they're kind of schlocky. So I don't want Star Wars to be that way, so I don't really want to pick some mainstream writer to write a bunch. Furthermore, you can't really, how many adventures can Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia have? If you write hundreds of comic book issues about tons of adventure, it just doesn't make any sense unless you like water it down so that they don't actually do a whole lot, but then I don't want to read that either. If you're going to do Star Wars comics, in my mind, do what Dark Horse did back in the day with the whole Tales of the Jedi. Go back, 4,000 years in the past, tell a whole different thing. You got so much room to work with. And if that's the case, someone like a Jeff Lemire, which I just don't, this will probably be beneath him. It's sad to say that Star Wars is beneath someone. But yeah, I mean, he could kind of, if it was something like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to do Star Wars, I'd be like, please give this guy money. And then finally, Mr. Ron Digga writes in a day ago, keep your politics out of the review. Well, Mr. Ron Digga, I can sympathize with you. Thanks for writing in. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate it. I can absolutely sympathize with that sentiment. I can only answer this way. If you watch my video and you don't like me talking about politics, consider that you watched my video and it didn't cost you a dime. Now, consider how I feel when I go and buy a comic book, an overpriced $3.99, $4.99, $5.99 comic book, and I have to have their politics interjected in the book. If you don't like me putting politics in my videos, you understand now exactly how I feel about them putting their politics in their comic books. You're making my argument for me. Thank you for writing in. No disrespect, and have a great day. Now let's get on to New Comic Book Day. All right. Now it's up to the comic book haul, the meat and potatoes, the thing that this whole video podcast thing, a bajig show was built around, is showing off new comics. Always show your receipts. I'm trying to get to the $25 a week budget. It's tough. I went over a little over $1 today. Because of this first book, I decided to add to the poll, which was Infinite Crisis #1. Jeff Johns, Phil Jimenez. I'm a big fan of the other Jimenez, Jorge Jimenez, primo. I've heard good things about Infinite Crisis. I love Jeff Johns. It's $1 comic. Why not buy it? Check it out. And if I like it, it's on sale right now for $4.99. You can get the entire Infinite Crisis on Comixology. So yeah. I might have, if I had known that before I went to the comic store, maybe I would have just picked it up and saved myself $1. But it's kind of cool to have the floppy. So that starts it off. Can't cry about dollar comics. Next we got Flash #83. This is a book that I don't really even buy for myself. I'm not a Flash fan. I respect the quality of it. It's not my character. It's not what I'm into. But my friend's daughter is into the Flash. She likes it, and I've been picking up the copies for her. And, fringe benefit is I'll get to read them all as well. So, there you have it. Next comic I am into, we mentioned this earlier in the show, Detective Comics 1016. This is Mrs. Freeze, the mania of Mrs. Freeze. Something very interesting going on. Why Mrs. Freeze has gone all villainous, we don't know. It hasn't been fully explained, but the book is good. This is not Batman. If you're a person who thinks Batman, the current Batman books suck, and it's put you off, read Detective Comics. This is the book that should be leading. It's great stuff. More Year of the Villain stuff just will not go away. This is going to keep running until March, by the way. If you're sick of it now, well, you've got, 4 more months of it? Woo, yay! You're the Villain. This book is actually Justice League Dark. I don't know why that they did it this way. They should have... So this is a plastic cover, and this character right here in the back is like, this is all clear. So you can open the page, and then these characters will come out, and you'll see the cover with her, and there's other stuff. And then there's a Justice League Dark logo up here under the black, so you can't see it. But they should have just had his Justice League Dark and had this kind of like overlay on top of it, like it's crossing it out. And then when you pulled it up, you just see that would have made sense. But I don't think DC's modern editorial doesn't really know what the hell they're doing. So, anyways, Justice League Dark, James Tynion, it's a good book. I only get good books except for Batman, and I mean actual Batman, not detective. Speaking of good books, man, this is an underrated series. Freedom Fighters, Robert Venditti, one of the best writers in the business right now, especially when it comes to mainstream, is writing a classic sort of resistance tale of freedom fighters. It's an alternate history where the Nazis won World War II and took over America, and there's this group, the Freedom Fighters, and this book takes place almost in present day. They're like a next generation of freedom fighters. And it's just really fun, classic, heroic storytelling with sacrifice, risk and reward, moral dilemma, all the things that you want out of a classic, true hero book. This book has it. It's a slow burner at first. It takes about 4 issues to really start picking up the pace. By issue 5, you're like, okay, I'm getting into it. Issue 6 is boom, slam dunk. It's awesome and you're hooked. And I urge you to check this out. If you're not getting this book, check out the trade. Next, we're into Marvel. Venom number 20. Donny Cates, Ian Coelho. This is a solid book. This Absolute Carnage is Venom. If you're reading the Absolute Carnage story, it's basically Venom 12, then Absolute Carnage, and then jump into Venom 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Like these crossover. It's almost like a Venom story like was pulled out of Venom. It's kind of lame in that respect, but it's a good story. This is the only tie-in books I recommend buying. I don't know why you'd buy Absolute Carnage if you weren't buying Venom anyway. It's like I said, it's the same book. They really just ripped out a Venom story and published it with a different title. So get the book. It's good. I'm enjoying it. I really like the Kyle Hotz covers. I don't know what more to say. Next, X-Force. First of all, covers. I hate this cover. God, I hate Wolverine. I don't know. It looks like he's having an aneurysm, or maybe he's about to have an epileptic fit. I don't know. He just looks like he's like, I don't know. And then we've got Quentin Quire, one of the dumbest characters ever created. He was interesting kind of when Morrison was doing these ridiculous mutants, but they've kept him around, and now he's this pink-haired weirdo kid. He's pointless. We don't need any more telepaths in the X-Men. And why they put a telepath on the team with Jean Grey already makes no sense. And we got between Jean Grey, Quentin Quire, Emma Frost, Psylocke, other Psylocke, Charles Xavier. How many telepaths do the X-Men need? It's retarded. And if just pare it down to the one we like, which is Jean Grey. Get rid of the rest. There you go. Simple. But modern Marvel, it's just flood the shelves, flood the characters, and it's unfortunate. But I picked it up. I really deliberated at the comic book store. I sat there for several minutes looking at this issue going, do I want to get it? It's $3.99. $3.99. I don't know. I want to like X-Force, and I realize I only gave it 1 issue. I usually give a comic 3 issues. You know, it's hard to hook someone just on one. But man, this Dawn of X is really underwhelming. But this is the book that I want to like, so this is the one that needs to do it. This is so I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna be fair. Later on, if I'm trashing on X books, you remember this day. You remember Ash was trying. He was trying to like these books. He was paying for them. So hopefully, we'll see. Remember, it's $3.99. Look, did you see all those books I went through earlier? Oh, spoiler alert. Did you see all those books that I was showing you earlier for $4.99? Those were like, some of those were 500-600 pages. Some omnibus, like most of them were like 200, trades, but 6-issue trades or massive omnibus, $5. This is $3.99. It's almost at that same price point. You need to sell me. It needs to be great. It's not enough to just be average mediocrity. Anyways, finally, last but certainly not least, my favorite book that I'm currently buying is Ascender. I can't promote this enough. I love this book. In fact, when I get done recording this video, here's my hand in there. Sorry, I got the bad lighting today. When I'm done recording this video, I'm going to go read this book. And it's rare that I just jump into reading a book, unless it's like I got to get a video out. Which, by the way, some people have noticed, she haven't been putting a video out every day. It's the holidays and things have been going on, and I've just had some things going on, and it just, yeah. So this is the weekly video that you always get, and I'll put some more videos out. I'm going to wrap this up. You guys, please tell me, first of all, what you think is going to be the best. I'm going to fan these out. It'd probably be easier if I just did this in the beginning and instead of just stacking them and then fanning them out. And if I wasn't using a $1,000 iPad Pro device, I would probably be able to pause the recording. But Apple decided not to put a pause feature on their video camera. It's so stupid. So Stan is, of course, the master. He knows greatness. I always put Stan on what I predict is going to be the best book. And today, for the first time ever, Stan is going on an independent book. Ascender is phenomenal. And Forky is a resident expert of all things trash. Normally, if I have Batman, it's very easy. Forky knows. But when there's no Batman, I have to pick what is going to be the worst book. And this is a tough choice. Based on all these DC books, which are solid, with no Batman, they're all solid. Venom, Donny Cates is good stuff. Obviously, Infinite Crisis is Jeff Johns' classic. Forky is smart enough to choose X-Force. Will be the worst book. Unfortunately, Forky has spoken. Well, I'll read the books and I'll tell you if he's right or wrong. You guys, thanks for watching. Put your likes, subscribes, all that stuff. I generally don't mention that. It's kind of cringy, but that kind of helps the channel. If you don't like the video, if you are thumbing it down, hey, that's your right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make stuff you like, stuff that I like. Put it in the comments. Tell me how to be better. Tell me what would make the videos more interesting, what to take out that you can't stand. It doesn't guarantee I'm going to change it, but I absolutely consider all the feedback. Also, give me some topics. If you would want me to talk about a certain thing, if you got questions you want to see put on I like to do mailbag every week. I think it's a cool thing. Just have a couple questions, something to talk about. Having things to answer, I think, makes for some good productivity, or, I just don't know what I'm talking about. Gives me something, something to produce. I wish I had a partner. I really like collaborating. Try to get along with Eric Breen. He's a big friend of the channel. He likes to make jabs at me in the comments. I make fun of him on the video, but he's a good guy. He's always given me good expert advice and knowledge about things. But our times just don't connect, and I've really tried to do things with him. But he's East Coast, I'm West Coast. Well, Anyways, thanks for watching. You know what to do. I'll see you next time. And remember, find comics you're passionate about. It's fine to rail on the negatives, but don't get lost in those weeds, right? When you're hating on all the crap that's going on in the industry, and you have every right to speak out, don't let go of the things you love, and to keep that joy. You'll lose yourself if you just get completely lost in the weeds of anger. So remember what you love, share it with others so that they can find things to love. There's still a lot of great things. Thanks for watching.